You know, like that. Alex was better than the other ones. Don't say there while you're at. We have. I like giving that. Got it. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right, call the meeting to order. I need a motion to approve the October 2002 minutes. Sure.
Greg Leggett.
Here.
Mike Wild.
Here.
Who's not here? Dave O'Brien.
He's here.
Okay. We have a quorum. We have 3 to 5.
Okay. Need a motion to approve minutes of October 5th. I'll make that motion. Motion by Mike Wild, by Weber second. Greg Leggett. Any omissions, corrections? All in favor? Aye. Airport Industrial Park, anything on that?
The most significant update is with New Leaf and the solar project. Karen and I have been working with them on the lease. There was an issue with the tax provision section in the introduction of the pilot, and they have accepted that, and we are waiting to revise the lease from them. They do have an engineer from Marathon Engineering walking the site on Friday, and they are waiting for the National Grid interconnect to be approved. Once that interconnect is approved, they're ready to sign the lease. So it's progressing fairly well. That's it for the airport industrial park.
That interconnect, that's a in-house.
Well, it's with National Grid, and it's located south of the area.
Yeah.
And there's a process where when you want to connect, you have to be on a list and National Grid will approve it, et cetera.
Yeah. It's more administrative rather than just out there inspecting.
This one is, this is more administrative. If they're bumping up against capacity, then it would be more involved, but there is apparently excess capacity, so it's more administrative, I guess.
Any questions? Master planning update.
Just
You want me to help? You want me to help? You look very tan. You look good.
He was away for 2 weeks. He's not even back yet.
Right. Yeah. Okay, love to help. We continue to meet with Labella with a variety of folks on putting together the master plan. It is complex. And when you deal with utilities, deal with DEC, deal with different municipalities, and all the moving parts and the sequencing of these parts, there's a lot that will need to be done. Our latest issue is now meeting with Canal Corp to look at their site potential running the sewer line. So we are progressing. Labella owed the master plan proposal. We are expecting that at the end of this week. So overall, that is progressing.
They're going to do a heritage survey. Polls.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, we got sewer going on, we got water going on, we got electricity going on, we got gas. A lot of moving parts.
And Canal Corp is involved.
Perhaps with the sewer.
Because we want to run along their property. So, you know,
There's a good working team and we're meeting every 2 weeks and things are progressing well, but there's a lot to be done.
I got a little short one because I don't think the proceedings pace that we expected to be promised. Well,
And on a positive note, the village of Fort Anne is, whatever it's already is now involved. They're at our last meeting, they're on board and they're very supportive. So that's good news. Next is Canal Corp. So
Yep.
we're getting all the right players as well. And that's it for the master plan. Unless there's any update, any questions?
Other questions? We'll talk about the executive session, but ESPD's contractor wants to lease the building. And 7 additional acres out there, so we're talking about an executive session because this week led to negotiate the contract. Well, then, hoping Brian would show up. I do want to say Chuck put together a big finding statement on the solar. We finished up yesterday, reviewed by Karen, sending out the board members will have it for Monday night. The most interesting things in there is that there's an economic benefit to residents in Queensbury of some $4 million. And I think that's light because of the 10% of this 10% of the power is supposed to go to low income residents. So that was interesting. Tim Robinson actually did a great job in calculating that out. We think ours is a little shy. We like Tim's better, but we used ours. He calculated out $6 or $7 million. So, but 10% of electrical fees, average electrical bill times 12 times 1,000 times 25 years is a number. So.
And did Queensbury get back to us all with what their pilot was going to be?
No.
No, I was coincidentally last night watching a meeting on Look TV, it was a public meeting on December 5th. And John Stroud was talking about various initiatives. There are 6 solar projects going on in Queensbury right now. 2 at the airport with the county, ours with CVE, and probably BASF, and a couple of others. So the town is working on solar related issues. I think there's more to learn. I don't know if anybody else has any other information, but we have not received any official correspondence. So I think the finding statement will help with us. So we'll get that out soon.
Does everyone understand why Queensbury is not going to get a pilot? Because they missed the deadline for responding back to the solar company. I mean, they can fight all they want. They've got their tracking and the tracking number going to it. I don't want to bring it a big issue, but you know that's up there. So
And that was from the applicant to Queensbury.
according to 47, we have the applicant 60. Send a message out. The town's got 60 days to respond to one or not. They didn't.
Yes, the applicant felt. The applicant sent the letter, had it tracked, and there was no response.
Of course, the ongoing issue with assessors and the state is assessors wanted to do it as added property value. The state's saying no. It's by megawatt. And most of the IDs out there are by megawatts. ABOs look at megawatts, have a report on there. So it's interesting information to look at. So that battle is still going on. I'll lay out who's going to win. So we'll see.
Better look at it with the county. Just forget it. We'll wait. Let it see how it filters out and see what John comes up with, see what we come up with here. And we'll react. Probably just fall in line.
Yeah. So
One of the saving graces on solar is that it's not as if you're having more kids in school or what's up. It's a fairly static development once it's there.
And particularly positive when the site is not a very desirable site. And if the site does not have any visibility impact. So the siting matters. And for this particular application, the siting does not have visibility impact, and to your point, very little impact to active construction.
So next was officer nomination 2023. We had 3: chair, vice chair, and secretary treasurer. So any thoughts on chair?
Nominate Dave.
Go Brian.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Second thing was that we had vice chair. I'd like to nominate vice chair Craig Leggett. Secretary Bruno. Any further nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Secretary treasurer. I've asked Tim Robinson to be the secretary treasurer. Tim is close, so if he needs to do anything or sign anything, he's right across the hallway there. Not across the street there, so he's close and, be able to help Ally out and look at the financials and whatever he needs to do. So it asks for a nomination for secretary treasurer.
Second.
And second by Mike Wild. Any further discussion? I don't hear Tim screaming, so.
No, thank you. No, I'm all good. Thank you.
Yeah, larges will be probably continue as they are, unless someone doesn't want to stand. You want to say this?
At large,
Yeah.
I have no idea what the difference is, so I'm good.
Okay, you're good. You're doing what you're doing right now.
Oh, okay.
You're doing that thing about.
Right.
And Mr. Gill. Okay. So that's done. Next is ID bylaw and policy review. It was sent out to you. The one sent out to you had some minor change, but that highlighted in here. There's a couple things Brian commented on. And we'll discuss that when we go through there. I was hoping Brian would be here. Maybe he'll show up before we get there. First of all, we'll go through here. Let me step out. So the first agency, there's really no changes there. The second officers, really no changes there.
How are we looking at it?
Bylaws. Really no changes there. So I think one of the things that happened is that when we look at developing bylaws, we don't look at developing bylaws for a specific person or a specific position. We have a change now that we have a paid CEO, which we never had before. But that doesn't mean at a certain point that there may not be a change where the CEO leaves and we have another volunteer CEO. So I think when we read the bylaws, we need to keep that in mind. And I think that what Brian was a little confusing because I talked about it was Article 1, Article 3. Article 1 talks about officers, but Article 3 talks about the duties of the CEO as an employee. So we'll cover that in a minute. So page 1, any comments on page 1? I'm going to change that. Any change in Article 1 to Article 2? You might have different pages than I do.
Pull these up since I didn't bring them close to my laptop.
You got a Dell laptop?
No.
No, we're not adopting these days. You do it before it's before. You print them out the next time out, he didn't show this one.
Where it is.
He's got it. He got it.
Okay, I have my iPad too.
So,
Any changes?
are there any changes, right? One that I did was election officers. Because with the, section 9, read election officers, all officers shall be elected in a meeting. I made a change to that to say, with the exception of chief executive officer and chief financial officer, all officers of the agency shall be elected at the annual meeting of the agency for the agency. So I inserted that, so we made the proper change to work.
Section 9.
Good morning.
Hey, Brian.
In section, did you bring your copy?
I memorized them. Third second, all my corrections.
Number 10. Again, the same insertion. With the exception of the chief executive officer's chief vacancies. It did read, should any officer become vacant, the agency will elect a successor from its members of this regular meeting. We again inserted that in the exception of the chief executive officer and the chief financial officer, should any officer become vacant, the agency shall elect. We'll just make exceptions because the CEO is appointed by the board.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Administrator, economic development coordinator. You left that case in because we get real lucky and have so much business, the truck can't handle it.
Actually, I was afraid we were talking about, possibly not having a CEO, whether the issues that are affecting one county and aren't having a leadership staff. Chuck is, kind of got the bug. Working on looking for something else, right? Typical, you just hire somebody. You got it to be good.
You guys have a poll going on your next person?
Yeah.
Why did you get rid of somebody in 2 weeks?
was administrator role.
Our tourism guy decided to,
In the middle of
To retire?
to escape.
Already?
But no, it was in there just in case.
Did you guys not say hello?
something I said. Yes, that was true.
Just kind of got a car, drove away. Left a couple of bombs.
Okay, let's see. Operate.
Members. Member speech following requirements, nothing's changed on members, Article 6 members. Nothing changed on that, meetings, annual meetings. Article 3 staff. Okay. Article 3 staff. Chief Executive Officer, something Brian brought up. And I think that we looked at Article 1, talks about officers. Article 3, member officers are 3 talks about staff, so. And I think Article 1 on officers, Article 2 on officers refers us to Article 3 for the staff. It's Chief Executive Officers responsibilities. Now I saw Brian's point, but again, when we talked about, we have to write bylaws for whether we have who's here, but anyone in the future, whether it be paid, unpaid. So keeping that in mind, under the ADA superintendent, the chief here, the chief executive responsibility, the last agencies, the CEO will make recommendations to the board, necessarily represent the agencies to local businesses and be represent economic development in Warren and Washington counties through appearances locally, weekly, and nationally. So I think that really covers Brian's concern about place agency.
Well, yeah, the thing of it is, when someone wants to come to the IDA, I don't want them to think of the board, I want them to think of our CEO, Chuck Martin. It's like, there's just a big baseball contract with Jake DeGrom. You think they paid him $185 million to not start on opening day? No. You think you want your top guy out facing the public. And we can all share in credit, we can all share in blame. Well, I want the person, our point person, to be the point person for everything. If, as long as it's worded so that's what's going to happen, I'm happy. I just didn't want it worded that, all of a sudden they're calling Brian Campbell. Nobody cares what I have to say today. So, right. So, but you know what I mean? So, no, you want them to hear from the person. When you hear Jip Shipon, you think of EDC. When you think of IDA, I want you to think of Chuck Martin. I want you to know who that go-to person is. That was my concern.
So we have given him the responsibility of what they do that. If he does that, that's up to him.
Mhm.
He's the one that makes himself out there, identify.
Very good at
At
it.
us.
I watched him like.
You helped me.
Well, I did try to help. Well, hey. I can be a weight and tone you down. Too, so.
So again, CEO maybe he spoke to the agency. Again, he is a spokesperson of the agency. But there may be times when you have a volunteer CEO that is like we had before, who just sits and does signs paperwork.
But then we would change our bylaws for that.
Shouldn't have to change your bylaws every time you change a person.
No, you'd change your bylaws though if you went from an unpaid back, or from a paid back to an unpaid.
Mhm.
I think.
So we talked to spokesperson on there.
Now the vice chair.
The supervisors, you have the chair of the board, but then you also have the county administrator as well.
Yeah.
So it comes in, there's something that we got, death due to COVID, who sends out the condolences. the chair of the board or county administrator type thing. So when it says here, maybe a spokesman of the agency as designated by the chair, that's just makes a decision who's going to be a spokesperson. Just seems to make sense. So it's a little. You want me to say it? Yeah, go ahead.
There may be a circumstance where we may not want either one of us to be spokesman, we want Karen to be spokesman.
Yeah, in our county, usually Treasurer Wicks is our spokesperson, because words mean something, and we like somebody that understands what those words might mean before they're said.
So that was that change. And the word is there, he is appointed by the board. Good. Going through that, numbers, anything from the peanut gallery over there? You're all quiet over there.
That's the silent majority right there.
Yeah. On the signing documents in the absence of the chair. Does that usurp the vice chair's responsibilities?
No, the vice chair goes in the duties of the chair.
Okay.
I think on that one, I think you need to decide, because whatever the bylaws say is one thing, but when we present the documents, the other side always wants to see what our approval resolution says. So, they're gonna, they being the company or the title company, always wants to know who's authorized to sign for the resolutions. So I guess from a drafting perspective, going forward, how do you want me to draft that as the chair first? If the chair is unavailable, then so-and-so, or is it any one of these people may sign?
So I think you should have it so that there's the chair, then the vice chair, then the chair or the vice chair or the CEO.
So in any capacity, so,
Just kidding.
well, no, I mean,
I know what you're saying.
like if they're not available versus just either or can sign, because lots of times we do our approvals. I mean, it could be months before we actually sign something. Well, the problem is going to be, is that they're going to say, well, we need something that says authorized designee. And if it says chair and he's unavailable to sign something that's.
Put in all those, it says the board's had to approve it in order to get to that point. So I think at that point, it's the pecking order of the chair, the vice chair, if you're not available. I just think that's the way that works. Because it had to be authorized by the board first anyway.
Before you put all three.
I mean, that would be my recommendation, leave it like that.
You let them all sign.
And then I could go to the chair first, if chair's not available.
Yeah, that's.
Okay,
Problem is that it takes longer.
Because he deserves it.
But, you know, at any given moment, we've had stuff that needed signed right away.
yeah,
And I've been, you know, I've not been, Craig's been available. You know, he
right,
might be
like
out
a
in
simple
the blue,
NC 60 update,
Yeah.
shouldn't, you know, okay, all
Right.
right, so that's how we'll draft it going forward,
but
okay.
I like to spend my tax dollars in New York State.
I'm with you, dude.
Yeah, where are you going this year? Where are you going next year?
There's still days in this year.
You don't need me, do you?
Video attendance, I put video attendance policy in other meetings. I put the video attendance policy, so that we got it as the, as an appendix to, as an appendix to bylaws. Committees, executive committee shall also be responsible for viewing any matters to come before the full board for action to ensure proper content and applicability to the commission idea. I put that in to change that to make it a little more explicit, even though it applies. That was all I had from that one. So bylaws, we can make any amendments that you suggest. Any suggestions on the bylaws from Jenny or Juan or Tim?
Nope, I didn't have any changes.
No.
Okay.
All good here.
So this one, I'm gonna have this sent out so that it be adopted at the December 19th meeting. I've sent it out 10 days ahead of time to the board members. Policies and procedures manual.
Read them on that.
Section 1 didn't change.
Yeah.
Red line, but
I think so, that was the draft.
Section 2 didn't change. The others were mine.
Oh, then I.
Section 2, no changes. Section 3, fees and agency costs. We've added. I'm suggesting bringing the fee up to 1%. Most all other agencies in New York State, IDAs do 1%, or somebody to do more. And a lot of them do 1% of everything, but so adding a point when people come in for refinancing, suggestion is to add a agency fee for that for 0.25% of the principal. The next change is we added annual fees. The agency will charge an annual administrative fee, which shall be invoiced by the IDA on about January 1st of each year. Shall be paid the agency during the term of the approved project. Annual fee should be $400. Glens Falls IDA does it. A lot of the other IDAs do it. And also project change fees when someone comes looking for us for a change fee. And we'll go through this.
Invoice beginning of the year, but it can be paid as per that wording anytime.
It'll be paid once a year. She'll be enlisted by the IDA on about January 1st, and she'll be paid the agency during the term of the approved project. I see what you're saying.
You could say shall be paid annually during the term of the pilot.
Are we on the project change fee or on the annual fee?
Annual fee.
Under number 6.
Under the 6 annual fee, so then the annual fee shall be paid annually to the agency during the term of the approved project. All set with that?
good to have an annual. fee.
There'll just be a due date on the invoice, right?
Now, that can't be charged to anyone who's a current client. Is under agreement. I think we have to add it to new. Is that correct, Karen?
And if they don't pay,
It would be a default under the terms of their documents.
Nice.
Nice.
little teeth.
Just as for administrative piece of it, it might be easier to send that invoice out simultaneously when you send out that request for job count
Mhm.
and, you know, sales tax info.
Yeah.
And say, here's this too, as opposed to doing two separate,
Right, okay.
here's this.
Anyway, first of all, you're gonna do this work for us, then you're gonna.
Well, Well, other IDAs have felt that this justifies the administrative work that's involved in
Well,
setting out the pilots,
Yeah.
chasing
We're still
after some of the
working for you,
information,
right.
and the audit fees that continuously go increase annually on an annual
They never
basis.
mentioned-
Well, they already pay. And the lawyer fees. Tremendous.
I tried to match it up. I'm willing to listen to anything else.
Yeah, we don't want to pick a different place to go just because we wanted more money for the annual fee.
Project change request fees. I think I sent it out. Basically wanted to change for extension of project completion date, $300. Increase in sales tax exemption authorization, $300. New mortgage refinance, modification financing, $500. $300 ownership structure, same majority member. And he is assignment of project under new ownership.
Until they pay that whenever that change occurs.
Right.
In other words, the change of that. So keep them out there.
Any comments on that? Okay. So we got project change fees. Complete application as described above must achieve by the expired. I'm on page 14, which is section 5. Application fees be released and leave council at least 5 business days prior to the agency meeting where the application is presented to executive committee or full board. On draft, and I missed this one on page 18.
If you look at the second,
I'm just looking back to section 7, recapture benefits policy. And his repayment provisions on that one. We paid that, section 4. So Karen had a note about penalties. I'm not sure that you did. I missed that one. What was your suggestion on that one? Remember, there's been money.
Oh, I was saying, that the entire recapture policy is discretionary. So, based on section 3 and 4, you can, if this issue arises, you have the opportunity to call the company in, explain the reasons why, i.e. they didn't meet their job requirements. And so in the recapture policy in itself, as written, it gives you the authority to say, okay, we feel like that's a reasonable reason why you didn't hire 10 people, you only hired 8, and we're gonna move forward with this. This language here, to me, it's unnecessary because you already have the authority to not go after a repayment or a recapture of benefits received.
When you can pull that out?
Yeah, because it's duplicative.
So pull out what?
Yeah, it's really pulling out which
The
section.
very last sentence, it says under extenuating circumstances.
Oh. Little belts and suspenders.
And other than some typos, everything is the same manual, any comments on the manual and policy manual. Okay. We do have a couple of changes to our policies. The first was the compensation and reimbursement for attendance and PTO policy. There was a change that said, in Article 1, compensation and reimbursement for board members, and change because we have a paid officer now. The change of board members serving officers shall receive no compensation. So it just put the blanket off for CEO and CFO. Attendance is that all members, attendance officers, members, and employees of the agency should be available as required to perform the operations of the agency. So I just added and employees to that for clarification. That's in section 3, Article 3. I mean, all members are expected to attend a minimum of 8 monthly meetings of the agency yearly. Any member who is absent for 4 consecutive monthly meetings or who attends less than 6 meetings a year may be asked to resign.
Well, good volunteers are hard to come by. You're getting mean now.
There's a key word in there,
Yeah.
may. If you got someone who doesn't come for 2 years,
They've already resigned.
Yeah, but we can't,
Right.
we have to somehow make it official. Again, this is not just about people sitting at the table at current board, it's for future too.
People don't.
Let's get one item.
That's a good question.
I know we do, for Warren County, we get appointed on an annual basis. So, it's pretty easy to come to the chair of the board or someone and say, oh, Mike hasn't shown up 3 years, maybe we should.
Yeah.
Another search party.
yeah, still,
Yeah.
So reporting paid time off. This procedure must complete time off request form with email notification. Amount of PTO available to employee will appear on the bi-weekly pay slip.
and on those, is that, who prints out our checks? Is that through our QuickBooks? Or is that?
I don't know if he does it.
Yeah.
You don't get paid.
I know, that's why I have.
That's a fun stuff.
No, not a PTO. Yeah, so that's right. So on your payroll, and if it's on your slip on the check
Mhm.
there, is that all inputted? You have control over that?
Yes.
And- Okay.
Management,
But it gets approved by the chair.
Or the vice chair in his absence, so what I just read.
And then the CEO.
Yeah, but he can't approve his own, right?
Ah. I'm going to rewrite something here.
employee is responsible for managing PTO account. It's important the employee plan ahead for how you use it. Then it goes to minimum increments PTO employee can use. His employee is an exempt or non-exempt in salaries. The exempt employee receives annual salary, non-exempt employee receives salary. If non-exempt employee may not take less than 1 hour off the time. If an exempt status employee must take a PTO in increments not less than 1 hour. Notice and scheduling employees are required to provide the chair reasonable advance notice. And obtain approval prior to using PTO. In the event PTO for planned vacations is being taken for more than 4 days at a time, the employee should notify the chair at least 10 days prior to taking PTO. This allows for the employee and the chair to clear every time off. And then it goes into maybe occasions such as sudden illness when an employee cannot notify the chair in advance. In this situation, the employee must inform the chair of the circumstances as soon as possible. Knowing the amount of PTO being used should be included with notifying of unplanned time off. It is expected that you should keep in contact with the chair. PTO taken for unplanned time off be longer than expected. Again, this allows for proper planning and coverage. So those were the changes in paid time off parameters. Any questions on that?
So Chuck can only take an hour off at a time, instead of taking an hour.
Gee,
Oh,
you can take-
After.
oh,
You can take 59 minutes without reporting that, right?
you know, at the time, I have a nap.
You can run across the yard to Burger King.
Personal time off. This change integrated leave, personal time off. Everyone's getting away from sick time, personal time, just one lump sum. Then you want to say, did you really know the doctor? I'm going to call your doctor and find out from where they're.
You know, my doctor is.
That applies to everyone but you. The issue will not guarantee an individual the same equivalent job beyond 12 consecutive weeks of PTO, except as may be legally required. I don't think PTO is the right term there. I think the right term is absence.
Okay, yeah, because it's family medical leave is part of that 12-week, right? Okay.
We're gonna change that absence is more describes PTO. You're usually PTO if you don't show up. Another reason. That was about it for that one.
Any
Questions?
Any questions on that? Back to your comment about the CEO and signing authority. I don't have, CEO has no check signing authority. Right, so. And we did that on purpose because it's so small. Sometimes if Ally's out, I might need to print the check, so I shouldn't be the person signing the check. So just to be clear, there's no signing authority for checks, which is the right thing to do.
Are we okay with that one? Procurement policy, the only change I made was to reflect. There's $0 to $500, and I changed it. Suggest we changing it to $0 to $1,000. Maybe discretion that you had about legislation. And then 1,001 to 5,000 upon agency approval may be purchased for the vendor provided lowest quote after receiving document at least 3 verbal quotes. And then 5,000 to 19,099. Upon agency approval may be purchased from the vendor provided the lowest quote after receiving at least 3 written fax email quotes. And everything over $20,000 has to be bid.
Is there anything that in the event you only get 2 quotes, how does that handle? I mean, sometimes you just can't get people to quote, you get 1. So how's that handled? I mean, because you wrote 3, but that can happen.
Yeah.
You tried, yeah, but I mean, does that have to be in the word? That's all.
Well, I think there is a statement in there. But yeah, if you reach out to 3 people in an attempt to get a quote and only 1 person responds.
That's up to 33 and don't get 1, yeah.
You fill the requirements.
Okay,
That document.
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
There's a circumstance justifying awards other than lowest quote, unavailability of 3 or more vendors who are able to provide a quote. And that was the only change I recommended. Okay. That was all I got. So bylaws will go out 10 days. We'll hopefully adopt those on December 19th. And then the other one, the reason we can't do the policies, because policies UTEP are the same. You see, the UTEP is we have to send it out to all the taxing jurisdictions, give them X number of days to get comments back. We don't receive comments. But to make sure people understand, there is no approval, disapproval by the towns and municipalities. We solicit comments, and we may or may not, but we decide to incorporate those comments there. What did I forget? No, I didn't forget. We're not done yet.
No, okay.
We're not done with the idea meeting yet.
No, no,
Did you have anything else to say?
we're good.
Does that mean we're done now?
No.
I'll do my normal report out of the board.
Okay. Okay. Which,
The 19th.
I will not be here on the 19th. I will be zooming in. I've already provided a place I will be coming in from. You notice it. You will run the meeting because I want to run the meeting apart. Or place.
And it could cut out.
Circumstance or are you able to-
It's an extenuating circumstance. It's not a place I don't want to go. It's not a place I want to go. I'd rather go here for better reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather be at the meeting also. I'm probably not gonna be coming.
So we get into the harvest season.
I'll be here.
Okay.
Warren County or Washington County? Oh, yeah.
Washington. County.
Washington County.
It might be fun.
I went there last.
The
night.
question is, when are you gonna get there?
I'll still be there from the day.
Promises, promises. Okay, I need a motion, well, I want to recess the IDA meeting, this is the CDC meeting. So we can turn off, because we won't be taking any, when we go into executive session, we're not taking any action when we come out. So I'll recess the IDA meeting. I want to call the CDC meeting to order. Ally, do we still have one?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. The only item we have on here is the executive committee agendas, officer nomination, 2023.
Move the slate is approved at the IDA.
Second by Dan. Any further discussion? All in favor? I will now adjourn the CDC meeting. That must be a record.
Consensus.
And I will call I'll call the IDA meeting back in order. I'd like a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations. Moved by Dan, do I have a second?
Second.
As I said before, we will not be coming back into regular session. We'll be adjourning out of the IDA meeting for the executive session. So,
Yeah.
You
You too.
too.